What's up? Welcome
You're
to
on,
live show number
You're on, baby.
two
right?
in a row. We've
Two in a
done
row.
other live shows, but second in a row that we're actually, on location. And it is officially football season. When we're out and about within the community, football's back.
So back, boys.
Last week was college football week. This week, we have NFL to add into the college football mix. I'm really excited. Follow us all over social media at Chatted Up Sports, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the good stuff. On YouTube, Chatted Up Sports, LinkedIn for the professional shorties, of
We're
course.
slightly professional.
Yeah, slightly. Not wholly professional. We got the big old whiteboard of picks out at Mike's Hole in the Wall tonight. We're hanging out on the patio. It is opening night for the NFL. Ravens visiting the Chiefs. We're going to get into that game hot and heavy. We're also going to dive into our core 4 college football picks. And we got a whole lot of other games to talk about because we not only have football tonight, fellas, we got football tomorrow from Brazil.
Bingo.
We got college football all day on Saturday. Some good, really good games. And then on Sunday, it is a full slate of NFL action. We're incredibly excited to be here. Greg Larner, Chase Green, Joseph Guthrie. Fellas, what's up?
It is great. We got people signing the board. Put them up there, boys. Put your scores there.
We got votes. Let's hit a quick recap just in case anybody can't see. On the board right here, we have, in the top left, we have Texas at Michigan. In the top right, we have Iowa State visiting Iowa, the Cy-Hawk Trophy. In the bottom left, we got Tennessee versus NC State. In the bottom right, we got South Carolina at Kentucky. And in the very bottom center, we have the opening NFL game of the season, the Ravens visiting the Chiefs in a rematch of the AFC title game.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It should be
17-10. Ugly game from last
Very
year.
ugly.
It was not the best game that the Ravens could have called. It felt like they totally got away from their identity. I don't know why they didn't run it the way they should have, but that's in the past. What are we looking for tonight, boys, from the Ravens and the Chiefs?
I think we're going to get a lot more offense than last year. I think the Ravens defense is going to drop off heavily. We're losing coordinators. We're losing a lot of key players. I understand you still have Kyle Hamilton. You still have one of the baddest men in all of football.
You do.
But there's still a lot of holes to fill. A lot.
Pause.
Now, hey, see what you did there, baby. Still got it. Still got it. So we're going to have a lot going on tonight. I think Xavier Worthy, oh, man, it's going to be fun to see him in the Chiefs offense. Those are the two things I'm, looking forward to. It's I want to see if this Ravens defense has still got it, and I want to see Xavier Worthy go off in a Chiefs offense.
100%.
Did you see Travis Kelce got a new haircut?
Is it good?
No, it's bad.
I'm going to – I'm on it.
It's not great.
He's got
a mustache.
for some reverse juju there, right? I mean, he's going for the 3P.
Yeah.
It's got to be something.
It's not great. He's got some more hair on his head. He used to have, the shaved head and whatnot. But if you go to Twitter, I'm sure they have it up there. I saw it on Instagram, but it's not fantastic.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It looks a little weird.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'm trying to get there. We're just haircut. It's taking bar shops. Oh, dadgummit. Oh, no, this is not it.
That's
That's
just a fake post.
Got it. I got me.
I don't know.
Anyways, but if you're going to listen to this on Friday, we do apologize. We're doing this live on Thursday. So, just scoot on past about 10, 15 minutes. You know what? We might even throw something in there on the Spotify to let you know when this kind of cuts off. But we're pre-gaming here, all right? So tomorrow when you're listening, you're going to know the outcome. We might sound like idiots, but here we are enjoying tonight. And we're going to act like we know what we're talking about when it comes to this game.
100%.
I'm excited for it.
100%. Because, what better way to kick off the NFL season than the Ravens at the Chiefs? What a matchup. Derrick Henry's joined the Ravens now.
Sorry,
what are we expecting from Derrick Henry?
I'm expecting a rejuvenation out of his career. Obviously, he was really good in Tennessee, and we miss him already in the great state of Tennessee.
Not crying. Onions.
It's not you, it's me. Anyways, with him, it just felt like he needed a little rejuvenation in his career. That Ravens team, since Lamar Jackson has been there, it seems like he's been obviously the quarterback and the main running back because they drafted J.K. Dobbins. He was never able to stay healthy, never able to be as dynamic as they wanted him to be. And then you had Gus Edwards. You had a couple of Kenyon Drake was there, and a couple of other weird names were in the building, some washed-up running backs. They tried to cycle through so many different running backs, and now it seems like this is one of the missing pieces on offense. They have a guy who's not going to really catch the ball out of the backfield. He can do that. but he's not going to catch the ball out of the backfield all that much. He's a guy that's going to ground and pound it for you, be able to wear down an opposing defensive line, and hopefully put the game away for you late and play some ball control. And now you have to be cognizant of not only him, but Lamar Jackson, the guy who can run through you and a guy who can run around you and past you. It's
100%.
It's a dangerous combination. That was going to be my big question as to what do you think? How do you think this changes the offense? I think it elevates the offense, but like you said, Chase, like my worry isn't on the offense, even though they don't have the most dynamic wide receivers. Mark Andrews is back. We'll talk about him in a second. But to me, it really comes down to that defense. Like you said, they lost their coordinator. They have Kyle Hamilton back there, but they lost some linebackers, some defensive linemen.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit of a struggle for this defense, and I'm with you as well. I think there's going to be many more points put up in this one. And I know I said in our NFL preview that I feel like the Ravens are still the class of the AFC North, but this is a game, in my estimation, that's going to be very difficult for them going to Kansas City.
100%. We know that's one of the best environments in football. No doubt about
100%.
it. I was going to wonder, too, like, if Zay Flowers takes a really nice year 2 step, along with getting Henry, where do we kind of see this offense? Because maybe it can be a team that has a newer identity. Like, they've always been able to score at times, but I think there's been a lot of defensive help from them. I think field position has been massive for Lamar in his career, especially on these good teams. They've had better defenses. I think this year now, if you have Zay Flowers take that next step, watch out. Like, it could just be a team that's, like, good on defense, not great like they were last year. But now we have Zay taking over and being like he doesn't even have to be like
he needs to be a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to be a true, like, top-tier Julio Jones 1.
And I don't think he is that guy, but you're right. He really needs to separate himself. I've heard some really good things coming out of Ravens camp about Rashad Bateman as well. That's another guy that they drafted fairly high that they were hoping was going to sort of turn into sort of a number 1-esque wide receiver. So between him and Zay Flowers and then Mark Andrews coming back healthy, only played 10 games, I believe, last year. A little bit of a down year for him. Thank you, producer Joseph.
Always working hard, baby. Always working hard.
Taking care of that camera for us.
Bumped up the ISO. The sun's going down. I'm fighting the sun a little bit, guys. I'm sorry about it. I'm, just trying to make sure that you can still see the boys. The sun had gone down a little bit, so I had to bump up. But we're good now. We're good now. Sorry.
All good. No, it's good. So, yeah, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, those are going to be 2 keys for me, especially in this game. And I'm just really curious to see how they pan out for the remainder of the year because they need those 2 guys to step up if they want to be good on offense or better on offense this year, if they want to take another step to sort of becoming this elite level team, because Lamar Jackson has shown, hey, he might be the MVP in the regular season, but he can't do it all by himself. He needs help. I know they brought in Odell Beckham Jr. last year. He wasn't fully healthy. He wasn't kind of that guy to bring them over the top. You need those younger guys to step up.
100%. Question for you guys, too, on Lamar. Maybe it's just me and, like, my sense of it, but I do feel like Lamar has got a little pressure off of him. I kind of feel like last year it's like, well, he just can't get it done. And he's almost like in the can't get it done category. And the one thing about Lamar is I feel like every time we start to doubt him or just, like, lose him in conversation because you're getting Burrow back, you've obviously got Mahomes. Like, Mahomes is taking over any sort of greatest, best in the business conversation. It's not even close anymore. So with that now, do you feel like there's a weird pressure off Lamar because he's kind of like pushed a little bit to the back burner? You kind of see that, like he doesn't have that pressure. Now he might be able to go perform and not have like you got to win right now. Because that kind of feels like it's over for maybe like the outside perception, but for him, it's moving.
I see what you're saying, but I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think in Baltimore, there's a lot of pressure now. It's not the New York media, but I do think there's a lot of pressure on Lamar because there is that stigma of, hey, he can't get it done. And I subscribe to that notion. Like, this is a guy that's proven time and again within his career that he can't, for lack of a better term, come from behind. Pause.
Hey.
He's not that guy to bring you back from like a Patrick Mahomes who got down against the Texans a couple of playoffs ago, like 21-0 early in the first quarter, and then found a way to come all the way back and defeat the Texans in that playoff game. Now, it was a home playoff game, and that's obviously very important. But Lamar Jackson's just, to me, not that guy. We've seen Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. We talked about it the Burrow slander's not going to be here with the three of us, as Miggy's not here tonight. But
Yeah.
but to me, Lamar's got a lot to prove. There's still a lot of pressure on this guy because, again, MVP during the regular season and just can't find a way to get it done in the postseason. It's like he's like an elevated version of Dak Prescott.
Yeah. A little bit, because there's unbelievable stats coming out. And he'll even have like moments in these playoff games, but it doesn't feel like he makes them enough. Like he just like, oh, he got kind of stuff. The Tennessee game, like all those games you kind of go back to. And even the win, like when he beat the Titans the next year, after the Titans beat them, it still felt like, it was only like 17-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a very low-scoring game. So I just never felt like he got it back and had like the juice where you're like, oh, I can tell this is another year Lamar's not going to get it done whenever defenses start to ramp up a little bit more. I mean, it's just part of the playoffs. Defenses get a little bit better. Games get tighter. You're going to see that. So, I don't know. I just kind of want it for Lamar as a guy that's had him on his fantasy team multiple times. I think, you kind of cheer for him in weird ways.
Yeah, of course.
And I know it's the Ravens. I don't love the Ravens as a Titans fan, to be honest. But I will always subscribe to Derrick Henry. I will be in that newsletter forever. Even though he's gone to the Ravens, he went to Bama, still love the guy.
Yeah.
Played for my team for a long time, so I want him to do well. He's going to be another one where hopefully he doesn't have to just be the absolute workhorse for a team this year, because he's going to have a lot of miles on him. And this Henry-led Titans team was a lot of miles, and I think now is a time where he gets to kind of play a little bit second fiddle where he was number one for a very long time.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best.
Do we know what Lamar's record in the postseason is? I just pulled it up. If you had to guess.
If I had to.
He's played 6 games in the postseason. What is his record in 6 games, if you had to guess?
2-4.
Titans.
It's
Is
not
he
on my
one-
screen right now. You can.
Oh, it's not.
lower your hand.
Okay.
No.
1-5?
2-4.
2-4?
Yep,
Okay.
2-4.
I tried to go a little bit.
So again, he's a guy that, like Dak Prescott, can get it done in the regular season, can't get it done in the postseason. I know it's just game one, but it sort of has a feel of like, all right, we need to announce our presence. To me, this game means more to the Ravens than it does to the Chiefs.
I think that's fair. But at the same time, if the Chiefs end up, and I know we'll get into full game predictions, we'll pick our winners and things like that. But if the Chiefs lose, depending on how they lose, is it the same story it was last year, the year before that? The Chiefs start out slow early in the season. And
I
then
don't
they
think
pick it
anybody's
up,
worried
and
in Chiefs Kingdom at this point.
Yeah.
We got Patrick Mahomes. We got a new look Travis Kelce. Xavier Worthy's there. Like, the defense, to me, is still stellar.
Of course.
Even without L'Jarius Sneed, you need Trent McDuffie to step up and be that number one cornerback now. So, to me, there's no really worry in Chiefs Kingdom. Like, they're going to figure it out. They lost to the Lions last year in Week 1.
100%.
There was no panic in any Chiefs fan, I think, at that moment, because you've won 2 games in a row, or 2 championships in a row. They're going for a 3-peat this year. That's not something that happens very often in the NFL, Chase.
No. And 2, I think last year really helped them, like in the fact that with the Chiefs now, it's like, oh, they can win on the road in their first playoff game. Like little things like that. You're like, I have no worries. And if you can't get them last year, when the heck are you going to get them? Because last year was the down year. They couldn't score. You win the 17-10 game. Like all these.
That was the year to the Ravens to get them.
That was the year.
That was the year for the Ravens to get them. So I don't know. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for anybody to get past the Kansas City Chiefs. We got a couple of other games that we're going to talk about. Obviously, we have a Friday night football game, which is weird. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's some sort of like weird. Oh, I sent it to you guys. There's a weird loophole.
Yeah.
In order for the NFL to actually be able to play a game on Friday, they're not supposed to do it outside of the first week of September. I think is the only week that they can possibly do it. But the way that Labor Day fell, they were able to squeak in a game on a Friday. Happens to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the Packers and the Eagles. That's going to be an exciting game. 2 teams in the NFC that have very high expectations, and they're kind of, I think right now they're sort of on both upward trajectories, but it was weird to look at both of those teams last year because the beginning of the year, the Eagles started the season real hot, probably the best team in the NFC coming out of the gates first half of the year, and then they kind of skidded down a little bit. And then you look at the Packers, and it was kind of skid out of the gate. Not great. Matt LaFleur didn't take off the training wheels on Jordan Love till midway through the season. Then they finally hit their stride. Was amazing in the second half of the year. You go into the postseason, one team absolutely flopped at the pirate ship against the Bucks.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
They blitzed the hell out of Jalen Hurts, and he just had no answer for it, along with that offensive line. Jason Kelce very teary-eyed as he knew his career was coming to an end. And then the Packers go into Big D, and they upset the Cowboys. They're a field goal away from potentially upsetting the San Francisco 49ers. So there was a lot going on
not at, the moment,
this point.
But in a little bit, maybe.
Because
maybe later,
we'll
boss.
get into picks, man.
Picks about what?
So, yeah, there's
college football game. Yeah, make your picks.
there was these two teams going in two different directions sort of at the end of the year. So this is going to be a very intriguing game. Nick Sirianni's kind of on the hot seat right now. Matt LaFleur, he's entrenched in Green Bay, new defensive coordinator. Talk to me about how you guys feel about this game coming up on Friday.
It feels weird because I keep seeing the we can't even leave our hotels comments. Like people are. It's a dangerous place. It's weird. I don't know if all those are true. They shut down Twitter in Brazil. I'm sure you guys heard about that.
I've seen that.
I didn't.
I've
see
seen
that.
that.
No.
So they've shut down Twitter in Brazil, and so with that, it makes it a little weird. And I'm sure there's some VPNs you can bypass and do some weird stuff. And have some
there's
fun.
ways.
There's ways. There's all ways.
There's a will, there's a way, as they say.
Exactly. I think it's going to be an ugly one. I hate to say it. I think we might get one like rushing touchdown. I feel like there's going to be a lot of field goals.
Yeah.
Really?
It's just got a weird vibe to it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, those overseas games and games in different countries and whatnot, they always end up kind of strange.
Yeah.
Those are like when we go play in London, it's like
Eh.
I don't know what the game's going to be at like 9 a.m. on the East Coast from London. This game's on a Friday. Like I'm hyped about it. I love a primetime game for my Packers, but
Yeah, this is a great spot for you.
yes, yeah, I'm really excited.
Great spot for you.
I don't like getting up early if I don't have to.
I wonder how much jet lag is actually going to be involved because Sao Paulo is only an hour ahead of where we are currently.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
okay.
mean, yeah, you are. There will be obviously jet lag, but like you're not on a 6-hour difference in your body clock.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
So that-
play that big a factor.
I don't think it'll make a
no.
huge difference.
No, I don't think so either. But with them, I don't know. Like this is probably. I feel like this is the most talented overseas game, air quotes.
Yeah,
That we've
usually it's kind of a weird like
What did we
mismatch.
have last year? The Patriots and the Dolphins or something in Munich.
Yeah,
or
we
wasn't it?
gave London some trash last year
Bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
because we gave them some low scoring teams. Titans went over there. Jags went over there twice, I believe.
Yeah,
So we didn't give them a lot of love.
yeah.
So sorry to our folks across the pond, but we're giving Brazil a great game, talent wise.
If there's
On paper.
if there's an aspect of this game that I'm really curious about, I want to know how the Eagles replace Jason Kelce. Because when you're a center, you play a very important role in helping the quarterback, identifying coverages, sliding the line, things like that. That's a big loss.
Yeah,
So how do the Eagles adjust?
that'll be interesting.
Well, when it comes to Cam Jurgens, they drafted this guy second round in 2022. So he's been in the system for a couple of years.
Yes, yeah.
They've been grooming him to be the center to replace
Since
Jason
then.
Kelce.
Yep.
So I don't feel like it's obviously Jason Kelce, Hall of Fame level
100%,
center.
Yep.
But I don't think the drop off to me won't be as steep as I think a lot of people think it will be. Obviously, it's hard to replace Jason Kelce, but I think Cam Jurgens is ready for this. He's been sort of being groomed for this for the last couple of years. It's going to really show if they got their guy or not.
Yeah,
And the tush push is going to be a big factor. Can he do the tush push as well as Jason Kelce? Again, he's been there for a couple of years, so he's had time to practice it. I hope he's up to speed to it. Well, I hope he's not in week one, but for my own personal sake. But
Yeah,
I
for-
think
for
they'll be.
your-
I think they'll be okay at center. I think it's going to be a loss, but it might not be. I don't be surprised if it's not as big of a loss as people are making it out to be. I think that's a great question though, because it is a factor and it's something to think about. My question. Do you want to answer that one?
no, I was
Okay.
going to go on with you.
My big question is the big acquisition this year. Obviously, they lost Jason Kelce, but the big acquisition was Saquon Barkley.
Uh-huh.
How much difference is there between Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift right now in their careers? Because if you look at the stats from last year, DeAndre Swift had more yards. I think he had maybe more catches. I was looking at it earlier today.
Definitely more catches out of the backfield.
And Saquon had like a slightly higher average in terms of yards per game. But they look very similar at this point in their careers. Like DeAndre Swift, that was sort of his coming out party last year. And now he's with the Bears. They brought Saquon in, and everybody thinks this is going to be the magic fix for this offense. But to me, they had a pretty good option and weapon there last year. Unless Saquon's just going to be incredible behind this offensive line, which I will give the Eagles credit. They do have a better offensive line than the Giants had last year.
Slightly better.
So how much of an impact do we think that Saquon's going to have compared to what DeAndre Swift? Is it that big of an upgrade? Is it that big of a deal that people are making it out to be?
I think it depends on the version of Saquon that you get. Like, I think if you get the same Saquon that was there last year for the Giants, I think it's pretty much the same. But if you get like early Saquon and he's feeling himself and that line's blocking and he's making moves, I think it could be a huge upgrade.
What did we talk about with Derrick Henry? Rejuvenated in a new place. And I think that's what is going to happen potentially to Saquon Barkley. And that's why I think maybe it's going to be a bigger upgrade than people are actually talking about. You can look at the stats and see that they're similar all you want.
Yep.
But I mentioned the offensive line's better. The culture is better in Philadelphia.
100%.
They have a winning culture compared to what the Giants have been able to throw out there the last couple of years. They have a competent quarterback.
Yeah.
So to me, it's going to be a big upgrade. And if Saquon's going to have some sort of an impact this year, or in his Eagles tenure, however long that lasts, it's going to be this year.
Yeah.
It has to be this year because he's got to be rejuvenated, coming to a new team, new city, new culture, new fan base. But if he comes out there and he is not Saquon of younger years, he's going to have a real hard time in Philly. That's a fan base that threw snowballs at Santa Claus.
Cold fan base, brother.
Yeah.
Cold fan base. So my biggest thing is, like, we're not even that far away. Because I was like, I feel like he had a good year 2 or 3 years ago, and it was 2 years ago. Saquon rushed for 1,300 yards 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not like that long.
Yeah.
The rejuvenation process, if this was like 4 years ago and you're like, those guys, like when you like, maybe if he gets back to 2000, early 2000s, 2021, 2022, something like that, you're like, maybe. But 2023 wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. Yep.
And so for Saquon, it's not that far removed from a great season. Not a good season, a great season behind a stack box what felt like every single down.
Yep. Yeah.
So with Saquon now, man, that offensive line could be tremendous for him. And you're going to get a very inspired Nick Sirianni, a very inspired offense because you mentioned they got waxed by Tampa Bay. Tampa
Baker
Bay.
Mayfield and the boys, baby.
Yeah. And one thing that everybody called, everybody knew this was about to happen. They're like, oh, the Bucs are going to beat you. Like, you're a huge dog, but the Bucs will beat you.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it. We all thought it, and it happened, and it was ugly. And that was the worst way to go out. I hope that Eagles team, like, they could either fall. There's like a big chance they could fall apart, or there's a big chance like, hey, dog, we will never be embarrassed like that again. Jalen Hurts is falling out of every category. Going into last year, you're like, Jalen Hurts, top 5 guy. What impact could he make? Could he be like the next guy? He's not even in the smoke and mirrors of that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even, like, trick somebody into that conversation anymore.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, Jalen Hurts has a lot to prove. Nick Sirianni, as far as, like, from a winning team, you're like, this is a fan base that fired a Super Bowl coach.
Yeah.
They fired a Super Bowl winning coach.
I mean, they got rid of Andy Reid, for goodness sakes. The guy who couldn't get over the hill there in Philadelphia.
Dog. It's
so, Super Bowl appearance, a bunch of NFC Championship games. But to me, you talk about Nick Sirianni and you mentioned the coaching staff because this is exactly where I wanted to go next. Because when you talk about that coaching staff, Nick Sirianni brought in Kellen Moore to sort of help reinvigorate the offense. There's going to be a lot of motion there with the Eagles this year. And obviously they have one of the best wide receiver tandems with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. And then they have on defense Vic Fangio.
Oh, I forgot they brought in Vic Fangio.
Yes. Who I was doing some research today, and he's not a guy who's going to throw blitzes at you. Like, I think last year he was like 20-something in the league in terms of blitz rate. But for him, it's quality over quantity in terms of blitzes. He will time, like, you look at Steve Spagnuolo in this game with the Chiefs tonight. He's just sending it. But with Vic Fangio, it's like, all right, let me be strategic. Let me see if my guys can get there. If I can get pressure with just 4 and my secondary is going to be like intact and they can cover the way they want to cover, this is going to be a really long game for the Green Bay Packers. Because you look at what the Eagles have on defense, I didn't even realize, so I really studied their depth chart this earlier today when I was really looking at it. You talk about your Georgia boys and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter.
Yes, sir,
Absolute
baby.
monsters up front. There's no more Fletcher Cox.
No more.
They've still got Brandon Graham on this team. He's a second stringer at this point. Got our boy from the Tennessee Volunteers, Byron Young.
Yeah.
As a backup. Bryce Huff, Zach Bond from New Orleans, and Devin White at your linebacker spots.
God, the depth is still so crazy.
And then you look at Jeremiah Trotter Jr., N'Kobe Dean, Nolan Smith is a backup.
Nolan Smith is a dog, baby. Absolute dog.
Like, what? And then you look at Josh Sweat on the other side. Like, there is so much depth and talent on this defense. And even in the secondary, I know Darius Slay, Big Play Slay, as they like to call him, he's a little bit long in the tooth at this point. But young Eli Ricks, who was at LSU, did he transfer to
He did transfer.
Alabama?
He transferred to Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. I thought so. Look at me throwing out some college football.
You big dog.
Baby.
It's King of the South, baby.
That's right. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was a big pickup from Detroit. Reed Blankenship's still back there. They brought in Quinlan Mitchell. And then Cooper DeJean. Is it DeJean or DeJean? DeJean.
Yep.
I had it right the first time.
Iowa's finest, baby.
White cornerbacks unite. Let's go.
I mean,
What a weird spot to land in Philly for him. You know,
I did not like.
Yeah, Keithy Ringo's there, another Georgia boy.
The Philly Dogs are strong, baby. The
Avonte
Philly
Maddox
Dogs
is
are
a
strong.
backup. Like, to me, we're talking a lot about the offense, and you mentioned Jalen Hurts, and we talked about Saquon. But to me, the underrated, the unsung part of this team is really that defense and what Vic Fangio is going to do. I'm going to be very interested to see, because that was a point of emphasis this offseason. If they can't play defense and they can't protect Jalen Hurts, it's going to be a long season for the Eagles. But with the talent on paper, I see right now, like, there's no reason why this team shouldn't be a top 1 through 3 seed in the NFC. Probably one or two.
it should be 1 or 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talent-wise.
Talent-wise. On paper.
Talent-wise. Let's flip to the other side. You're Green Bay Packers.
Wow, I can't believe I did not. Are you guys proud of me? I did not start with the Green Bay Packers. I held off. I was like, let's dive into the Eagles.
I really do feel like this is the first for the podcast.
Shout out to Josh.
I'm very proud of you right now. Like,
Thank you.
this is a big moment. We didn't start out with them. There was no circle back in the Chiefs segment. This is big.
I appreciate
Making improvements. But with that defense, how are you guys going to fight back? Like, how are you guys going to turn this around on them? I love the youth and the depth of your wide receivers, but they're not technically stars yet.
Yeah, no, they're not. And I think that's to their advantage. We talk a lot about NFL teams finding a way to build a team. And usually you do that, a Super Bowl winning team with a young quarterback and surrounding them with veteran weapons.
Yep.
The Packers have sort of done it backwards. And it's interesting because, like, the Packers always seem to do things backwards, and for whatever reason, it always seems to work out. They've had 3 decades of great quarterback play. And now it seems like Jordan Love's kind of in line to, obviously got a big payday, to be the next in that lineage with Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. But it's interesting the way that they're building it, because I think the Packers wide receiving room altogether is making $7 million.
Yeah.
That's insane. This is going to be a big year for Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. And going into year 3, maybe Jaden Reed steps up. Dontrevion Wicks has been said to be like a baby Devontae Adams with his route running ability. So there's a lot of talent there. I'm just sort of waiting for somebody to emerge. I know Matt LaFleur got a little agitated with reporters.
Yeah.
Continuing to ask, like, hey, is it concerning we don't have a number 1? What about who's your number 1 wide receiver? This, that, and the other thing. So, and he's like, I'm sick and tired of these questions. We have a bunch of guys that can be potentially number 1. So to me, that's what it makes this offense really dangerous. And then you look at the tight end position, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. I mean, those are 2 second-year tight ends as well that are incredibly talented. So to me, it makes it very dangerous. They're very unknown. The whole offense is unknown except for Josh Jacobs. But it's also very dangerous. As they say, fellas, sometimes the unknown can be a dangerous thing.
Can be.
In a
100%.
good way, hopefully, with the Green Bay Packers. I'm kind of more interested with how this offensive line is going to hold up against the Philly pass rush.
Yeah.
How the interior specifically against your Georgia boys is going to hold up.
Ooh, baby. If there's one thing they know how to do, they know how to rush the passer.
Especially, what is this? This will be a lot of like year 3s and year 4s, or year 2s,
Yep.
year 3s.
I think
'Cause
Jordan
Dean
Davis
and
is year 3.
Dean.
Kobe Dean's still on that team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nolan Smith's year 2. Year
Yeah.
2, year 3, something like that.
Jalen's
They're
second year,
veterans, man. Oh, dear God, dude.
which
Yeah, but Jalen's second year is like
I know.
Jordan's like 4th or 5th year. That
it's-
dude's just
it's
an
wild.
animal.
Man, this is going to be a fun one. I feel like the Eagles have a lot to prove. A lot to prove.
Mhm.
How do you kind of feel like? How do you feel like Jordan Love's going to do now? Because last year they didn't have the target on their back. Now, last year they weren't hunted, if you will. And I think it's very similar for like Love, Stroud, like those guys now, they're being hunted. How do you think this Green Bay Packers team responds to that now with the youth? Do you like this group as far as character goes?
Yeah, I think they're hungry after what happened last year. They felt like they should have been a team that went to the NFC Championship game to compete against the Detroit Lions. And I've heard a lot about Jordan Love and some of the other young players of the conversations that they had after that game, and they're like, we should have been there. We should have been the team going to the NFC Championship game. We should have been the team that upset the San Francisco 49ers, and they seem hell-bent not allowing that to happen again. I'm not so worried about the offense, even without Aaron Jones and adding in Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
I'm more interested to see how this defense is going to play under new head defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley. I couldn't remember his first name. Jeff Hafley. He seems to say, like, hey, look, I'm just going to let my playmakers be my playmakers and just sort of let it rip. He seems to be like an aggressive style defensive coordinator, but I'm wondering if Kellen Moore is going to use that against him, his aggressiveness against him, and I'm really curious to see exactly how aggressive he's willing to be against this pretty good Eagles team. We talked about it earlier with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They blitzed the hell out of Jalen Hurts last year, and they were able to affect him. So to me, that's the strategy going into this game. Blitz the hell out of Jalen Hurts, and hope that your corners on the backside are good enough to cover A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jahan Dotson, along with Dallas Goedert. Yeah. So the big matchup to me is going to be young Eric Stokes, another Georgia boy in this matchup.
Georgia boy, baby.
Good gosh, I forget how many people are up there in Philly.
Yeah. No. Eric Stokes is a Packer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. The Packers have a bunch of Philly players, Georgia players too.
Yeah, I mean, we just litter in the league, baby.
Devontae Wyatt.
Quay Walker. Just drafted Javon Bullard.
Eric
Stokes, dog,
Stokes.
man.
It's insane how many Georgia players are in this matchup. So it's gonna be fun.
Georgia goes to Brazil. That's basically what this game should be called.
Pretty much. Georgia goes international. So hey, real quick, boys, before we move on to any more topics, shout out to James Clark in the chat. He said, "Killing it as always." Killing it, boys, as always. Sorry, I cannot read.
Okay,
we appreciate you, James. Thanks for stopping by the live show, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh, he was here earlier.
He's here now. That was
is
just a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay,
He commented and said,
we
so
finally
sweet.
got on every platform. So
We're finally out everywhere.
Yes.
And I did see this table to our left here. One of the girls was taking a Snapchat and was just trying to get us in the background. I was like, what the hell is going on over here? And I caught her. Oh shit.
Got her.
Got him.
You gotta love a good live show. You
Chat
never
it
know
up.
what
That's
you
the brand, baby.
Yeah.
like and subscribe. As
Yeah,
always,
I
thank you to
mean,
Mike's Holenwall.
If you're able to take that QR code and maybe put it up next to the whiteboard, can you
Can you
grab
sneak
that?
there? Can you make that happen?
Thank you, Joseph.
All right, we're gonna get a.
And I completely forgot to keep the time, Joseph. I apologize. I don't know how we're doing on time, but we got
a cool 30 minutes.
We gotta move a little bit. So when it comes to those first two games, we've got some other NFL games that we want to talk about. We've got the Titans at the Bears, which I think should be an incredibly interesting game because these are two teams that sort of had a bit of a makeover from an offensive and defensive standpoint. Chase, this is your squad, so I'm going to let you talk on it.
All right. So I'm very conflicted in this game because I think, like the rest of the world, I do feel like the Bears have given Caleb Williams, who I do think is one of the next generational talents, the best situation a number one pick has had in a lot of ways. The defense was already solid. You mentioned that in the last pod. This defense could stop people. They just couldn't move the ball. That ruined their field position. You put them in some bad spots. But now, if Caleb is 85% of what he was, and Keenan Allen is a good veteran their corners have been awesome. It sounds like on Hard Knocks. Keenan Allen's like, I can't even beat these guys in one-on-one.
Well, Keenan's a little slower at this point
he's
now.
a little slower, but he's been the most underrated guy for the last 15 years. It feels like.
Yep.
But now you're giving DJ more opportunities. But all that to say, I think the Titans have kind of built a defense now to stop just about anyone. And I think we have an offense. If Will Levis is just pretty good, I mentioned last on the NFL pod preview, I really think this team has a chance to be awesome. I think the public's going to love all Chicago this week. I think the Titans are going to go out here and win this game in Chicago. I think it's going to be given a little worrisome.
We're making picks.
I'm going to make a pick. I'm going to make a slap pick. I'm going to go Homer. But this is a good feeling I have. I just think this offense is turned around in a lot of ways. It's going to be very different. This is a dramatically different Titans team because you're losing Vrabel. You're getting younger on the offensive side because of your new coach now. So it's everything, like all these little things have changed, but those little things added up to one big thing, and it's a brand new Titans team. And now you give Will Levis a lot to work with. And if D-Hop's healthy, you're still getting a lot out of him. Obviously, Calvin Ridley. And we'll see. You got a very similar set of backs. If one doesn't pan out, just go to the next one. Pollard's at least pretty good. He's not a feature back, but let's just give him and Spears some time. And, man, I think you're going to see a lot more offense. I think we're actually going to score in the 30s this year.
Bro.
Man.
I know.
What a novel concept.
I know. Let's not get crazy here. So Titans are going to score in the 30s, and I think we're going to stop a lot of people. But this game's going to be a fun one. I think it could wind up being the game of the week this week because everybody's
game of the week.
I think it could be a game of the week top vibe. I think there's going to be I don't think might not be the 30-point game we're hoping for the Titans, but I think this could be like a 28-24 Titans W. So there you go.
I love that.
I'll give you a pick already, guys. You're welcome. Early in the pod, you can go ahead and go now.
I wish the best for you.
Go ahead.
I feel like you're going the opposite way.
Me?
Yeah. I feel like you're leaning towards the Bears. You love Caleb Williams. The Bears.
Maybe.
Bears.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, make your pick. Chase has already made a pick, so we might as well just roll into it.
Okay.
Make your pick.
Give us your thoughts. Pick the Bears.
Of course you are.
I'm going to pick the Bears.
You're the closest to the exit. I'll see you later.
That's fair. Let me just see myself out over here. I don't know, man. I think Caleb's going to ball. He's got Rome. Keenan Allen's a veteran presence in the wide receiver room. I think he's going to get those boys right. The defense already said they can stop people, and I don't believe in Will Levis. You can say what you want to say about me, but I didn't believe in Will Levis. I don't believe in Will Levis. Give me the Bears, man. In a close game, we'll squeak it out. We'll say
he's a we now. It's a
we'll
we.
say 20.
I'll say you're a Bears guy now.
I'll say 24-21.
Okay.
Bears. Close. Real close.
All right, G, go ahead.
So the Bears, obviously, if you believe in Caleb Williams, and he was a high draft pick for a reason, he's got the weapons. I know we really haven't even talked about Rome Odunze all that much, who, honestly, I think he's going to have a little bit of an unspectacular year this year. Not because I don't believe in him as a player.
First year.
But first year, there's a lot of other talent there. It was sort of like JSN in Seattle.
Yeah, I can see that.
Really good talent. But there's a lot of really good talent already there to throw the football to with DK and Tyler Lockett. There's Keenan Allen and there's DJ Moore, who solidified himself as a bona fide number one wide receiver last year. You add in DeAndre Swift, who we've already talked about with the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously a really good piece. That defense, I talked about it on the NFL pod, preview pod. I'm a huge fan of what I hate talking positive about the Chicago Bears. It hurts my soul. Although in my lifetime, knock on wood, I've never even seen the Bears be really that good. So, whatever. I say all that to say that your Tennessee Titans are going to take the Bears to the woodshed and lay it on 30-17. They're going to put up 30 points. Will Levis has learned something from last year. He learned that I am not going to try to play hero ball and push the football down the field. Take what is given to you on offense. The offensive line is better. I know you don't have Derrick Henry, but you have Calvin Ridley. Is DeAndre Hopkins going to play this weekend?
He is.
All right, D-Hop is going to be in the mix. This is a big bounce-back year for Chigakonkwo as well. I believe in that man so wholeheartedly and I want him to be so good. It's like it's stupid how much I want to believe in Chikakonku because he's so athletic, and I think he's such a good tight end. He's got to catch the football, but to me, the defense is where things change. I know Mike Vrabel, the tough-nosed defense from the old regime, they went out and spent some money this year. That secondary is going to be a whole hell of a lot better. The defensive line has the best defensive lineman in the league on it now.
That's right, baby.
And they're going to be able to rush the passer. Great linebackers. Like I'm really excited about what this Titans defense can do. And in game one for Caleb Williams, it is going to be a struggle against this really good Titans defense.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tighten up, baby. Tighten up.
God. I just believe in the middle so much. Like getting T'Vondre Sweat along with with Jeffrey Simmons, our interior, we're gonna be able to sit back so much.
Yeah.
Like Swift's gonna have a tough day, I feel like. I think it's gonna be a tough day running the football for them. And so now you're gonna make I just feel like it's a really tough game one now because of Uzier, and you have Chiefs cornerback. What am I thinking? Came over to Titans. L'Jarius Sneed.
Yes.
Those are your two corners you face in your very first NFL game. Godspeed.
Oof.
Godspeed, my friend.
Oof.
It's
That's
not going to
tough.
be easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to believe in Caleb Williams as a long-term bet or an investment. But right now, I think it's going to be a tough game one, and he's going to walk into a team that's really inspired and very, very talented now.
Do we want to go back and pick the other two games that we've already talked
Let's
about?
knock them out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to take our picks, and then we'll hop into college.
I mean, the game's about to start right now with the Chiefs and the Ravens. So when you listen back to this, again, we could sound like absolute morons,
But that's okay.
and that's fine because we're gonna call it like we see it. There it is.
God,
There's
that
Trav.
haircut's terrible.
So bad, right?
Wow, Travis Kelce's
So
haircut.
bad. Taylor, how do you let him do that? How do we let him do that?
Thing on Taylor Swift, did you guys see that Taylor Swift has been Patrick Mahomes said that she's been drawing up
Oh
plays.
yes, I did see that.
Drawing up plays.
I did see that.
Football bug, man. It'll get you.
So you know what's going to happen this year? Every telecast of the Chiefs football games, they're going to be talking about and pontificating when a crazy-looking play comes up.
Oh, God.
Is this a Taylor drawn-up play? Oh,
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes is joking about it.
There's Taylor's play.
Gosh,
There you
I hope not. It's going to be exhausting.
I
Come on,
understand
boys,
it's
it's
good
football.
for
We'll have
both
fun.
brands, but it is so nauseating as somebody who's not akin to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It is so nauseating. I can't
Yeah.
stand it.
I know they want to play to their crowd. I know
They
they
do.
know. They know their female audience has skyrocketed for the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, all right.
Chiefs are going to win this game going away to me. They're going to win this game 27-13.
27-13.
27-13.
I'm going to say 24-21 Kansas City.
Well, it's clean sweep, boys. I'm going to say 27-20 Chiefs.
Okay. Watch us all be wrong.
Yep, probably.
I'm going to say Malcolm would have told us Lamar.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are we thinking? He would have probably put like 31-21 or something.
Something stupid. A
Yeah,
classic Miggy take.
Classic
Let's
joke.
pick the next game, Packers and the Eagles. Joseph, I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm going to roll with the Packers.
Okay.
I knew I
think-
liked you.
I think the Eagles might take a few games to get it figured out. I think the Eagles might take a few games for Kellen Moore to figure out what he likes, who he likes, in what situation. I think the Packers are just ready, man. I think they'll start hot after last year. Give me the Packers. Give me the Packers 28-24.
Okay. I like that. But you're wrong. So we're going to go Eagles. Like I said, I think it's going to be very ugly. I think this legit might be like a 17-13 game. And unfortunately, I'm going to go with defense and running the football. And I think the Eagles are going to do that a little bit better in an ugly, weird South American game. I'm sorry, but I love you.
23-17 Eagles.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
He did it.
picked against his own team.
I hate doing it.
Respect for doing it.
I hate doing it.
But sometimes you just want to be right.
I believe in the Packers, and I hope to goodness that I'm wrong. I believe in the Packers and what they're doing, but first game with Jeff Hafley, I'm thinking that they might, again, smart people over there on the Eagles side of things, they might use that aggressiveness against them. Again, on paper, everybody's healthy right now for the Eagles. That defense is really good. It should be really good. And like you said, weird in another country type game. Something crazy could end up happening. Again, I hope I'm completely wrong, but I'm going to try to be as honest as I can. Sorry.
It hurts.
Go Pack.
Feels weird. Feels weird. I can tell. I feel the negative energy coming off of you right now.
He didn't like having to say that.
It feels dirty.
But respect.
Thoughts and prayers go out to Greg Warner's feelings right now.
Yep.
It's not great. All right, we'll go. We'll just quick hit this. We don't have Malcolm Harris tonight. We miss you, buddy. Real quick, Falcons Steelers last NFL.
This one's easy. It's gonna be the Falcons. They're at home. Kirk Cousins, Kirk go chains, as they say, back and healthy. Drake London's going to solidify himself as the number one bona fide wide receiver. Rashawn Robbins is going to take over as the best running back in the league from Christian McCaffrey. The defense is incredibly talented with all the moves they made last year and this year. I'm going to say Falcons 24, Steelers 17.
Okay. I'm definitely going the same vibe, but I actually think it's worse. I think there's going to be a humongous panic button come Monday for the Steelers because Russell's going to be bad. I think this Falcons team wins 34-10.
Ooh.
Absolute
blowout.
Beat
Dang.
down.
Another clean sweep, boys. I'm on the Falcons train. Give me Kirko Chains, man. He's got weapons, and those weapons finally have a quarterback. They ain't got to deal with the boy from Cincinnati. He gone.
Sorry, Desmond.
They got
Here you go.
Kirko Chains back there dealing. Give me the Falcons 31-10.
All right. I like
Very
that
similar.
as well.
31-10. Falcons roll, baby.
All right, so Steelers are definitely winning that game now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I hope that doesn't happen. But all right, let's move on to some college football. Let's switch gears. We got about like 30 minutes left or so, 25 minutes or so left. And we got to talk about some college football. Week 1 action last week. And Chase did a fantastic job with the rundown tonight. And
Thank you.
I appreciate you. 3 claps one time for Chase Green.
I gave myself 3 claps. I feel a little
That's
narcissistic, but I'm okay with it.
That's all good. All right, quick thoughts on everybody from week 1. What Chase, since you kind of came up with this, I'm going to let you give your quick take from week 1 and pose a question. Tell us something that stood out to you.
Yeah, so what I want to get out of this, I know everybody, if you watch college football, you've probably heard everything from week 1, and we don't really want to recap all the games. You guys have heard that. But a big one for us was, why did we actually think, like what I have in my mind of slightly rebuilding SEC teams would have beat a Notre Dame, would have beat a USC, would have beat a Miami team. I feel like all those 3 teams right there had this weird buildup of like a mercenary vibe, but we're going to get a lot of mercenary teams that we're going to call them in the portal.
Yeah.
Cam Ward was unbelievable.
Unreal.
Unbelievable.
God, he looks so good.
They looked awesome. They have so much offensive firepower from the running back. When you're getting, what's his name? Martinez.
Damian Martinez.
Yeah, Damian Martinez. To just like that whole wide receiving core, the defensive line looked awesome. I get it's at Florida. It does not have the same impact. I don't know where everybody thought. Like, I know Graham Mertz looked comparable at times, but comparable at times is not going to beat a Miami team that's very talented. I thought the Swamp might hold people up for a little while, but it didn't do that much justice.
No.
They lost all momentum very early.
Yeah.
And to go on, same thing. I thought Notre Dame, we talked about it. Notre Dame, Texas A&M was going to be ugly. It kind of was ugly for the most part. And I never got any of the hype for Texas A&M. I guess 12th man. I know it's tough in there. And as the only person that got that game right, you're welcome.
Yep.
Well done, Chase.
I don't want to believe in Notre Dame, but I think it was more of a disbelief in Texas A&M than it was anything. And again, we got a Tide fan out here.
No.
He's going to have a tough year. 8-4, buddy. Good luck.
Oh, I don't know, baby.
And then to go back on the other side of it, like the USC team, I really thought Deontay Lynn was going to turn it around, and he did. It looked like both defenses looked comparable at times. LSU used a little bit more of their talent on defense.
Yep.
There was not 1,000 missed tackles on both sides. I thought the system in Lincoln Riley was going to be better than a system from Brian Kelly, and it looked that way. I think Miller Moss is a good quarterback. I even think Nussmeier looked good at times for LSU.
He can spin it, man.
He can spin it.
The arm talent's there.
And you know what's the funny thing we were talking about? And I know we're all going to say it in the next, 8 to 10 weeks. Oh, there's another group of LSU wide receivers that are going to go first round of the draft.
Yeah, shocker. Kyron Lacey is an absolute stud.
You're like, I don't know.
He started at UL with the Raging Cajuns. I covered him for like a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And he transferred to LSU
stud.
when Napier left.
Absolute stud.
Okay.
They were awesome. So all these teams, to reiterate back on the SEC part of it, I get their SEC teams, but these are not. This is not even Alabama. This is not Tennessee. These are not your big guys. And I could mention you guys, USC now, USC and Notre Dame have one of the easiest paths to at least a conference championship game.
Yeah.
Or not Notre Dame to the playoffs because their schedule's so easy. They don't have a conference championship game. But USC has an easy schedule. Besides Penn State, they don't really play anybody that's ranked, I don't think.
Yeah.
Miami, tougher path, but maybe not because Clemson and whatever you want to call Florida State right now, there's a huge panic meter.
Ooh.
But all that to say, these SEC teams didn't show up and weren't that good to begin with in a lot of facets. I just don't have this admiration for Brian Kelly yet. And
That's what I'm saying.
Talent's there, just didn't produce. So USC still my weird pick to make it to the college football playoff.
I love it, man. And I'm going to be honest with you. My position on USC, call me what you want, my position on USC is totally flipped.
Wait, so you can change week to week? You're allowed to do that?
Well, just my preseason outlook for
Yeah,
USC.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I did not expect Deontay Lynn to make that defense look that good. They still don't have the dudes.
No.
But, man, just the scheme, the way they were able to be in position, to be where they needed to be at the right time. I didn't expect it to happen over a spring. I really didn't.
Yeah.
USC's dangerous, man.
Dangerous.
Because they're going to get better. They're going to get better as they play. Miller Moss is going to get better as the year goes on.
That dude was tough.
He's tough, man. He stuck it out. Not many people are willing to sit behind Caleb Williams. It says a lot about who he is as a quarterback and who he is as a person. They're tough, man.
They are good.
And I didn't expect to say that about a Lincoln Riley coach team. But the things he said in the offseason about how we're going to change our philosophy, we're going to change the way that we do practice. We're going to put this emphasis into defense. It looks like he meant what he said.
It feels weird. It feels weird from a Lincoln Riley team.
You know what it is? It's scary. I know it doesn't feel like it now because Ohio State is what they are and USC's just now in the Big Ten. And it's like, well, how are you going to fare playing against Michigan and Penn State? I know they dodge Ohio State this year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Lincoln Riley's going to have a guy. He's going to have a dude.
Yep.
He's got Juju Lewis. I mean, I know he's still a senior in high school, but that's another bullet in the chamber of quarterbacks that Lincoln Riley has had. And if Deontay Lynn stays the way he is, they're going to recruit some dudes at defense.
Yeah.
They're going to steal some guys. They might not pull these incredible dudes. They might not pull these guys from Georgia and Florida and Texas for defense, but there's no reason they can't be a transfer portal destination.
Yeah.
To fill some holes on defense, to just be serviceable enough to where it's like, hey, I'm Lincoln Riley, and I've got these quarterbacks, and I've got these receivers. I'm going to drop 40. You don't have to be a top 5 defense. You don't have to be the defense that Alabama's had at times, the defense that Georgia's had at times, because they're going to score, man.
Yeah. Always will score. And as you mentioned, it's crazy to think you just have to be – I'm sure there's a stat out there, and fire away in the comments if you find it, but I think you really have to be for a USC right now with a Lincoln Riley offense and Miller Moss, who is a good quarterback, maybe better than we expect. I don't know. I think he's going to be a good serviceable quarterback, but you're getting a top 15 offense no matter what. Whoever you throw in there, you could throw us in there.
Yeah.
I still think you're going to get there.
Yeah.
But if you're top 65 defense, I'm going to say I think that's like an arbitrary number. I think that's 50%. Pretty much.
If you're top 30, man.
if you're top 30, you have a massive chance to win a championship.
Yeah.
But if you're top 65, I think you can make it to the playoff.
Oh,
And I want to see what Michigan's going to become. To be honest, don't have a huge ton of faith in them.
No.
But we'll see this weekend. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. But after last weekend, USC impressed me. I think that was a more fun game than I actually thought. I thought USC actually might beat them a lot worse. But LSU had times. Their defense looked better. So if you're an LSU fan, at least you have that. I will say, I just think you got beat by a better team. I don't think LSU's gonna be great, but you're gonna have another 8-4 team. Like they lost a situation where Caleb Williams means less, and I still think Caleb Williams is a generational talent. So take that with that. But Caleb Williams means less to USC and Lincoln Riley than a Jaden Daniels means to Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Because Jaden Daniels was the key to Brian Kelly last year.
Yeah.
There's Derrick Henry.
Touchdown Ravens.
Who was that?
Derrick Henry.
Oh, good job, Derrick.
Well, you've watched it. You've watched Lincoln Riley replace Heisman winner after Heisman winner after Heisman winner. And you haven't watched Brian Kelly do that.
Nope.
So it's precedent. It's precedent that's been set for Lincoln Riley, where it's like, and all of college football has known this. If that man at any point gets a serviceable defensive coordinator, he's scary. He's terrifying.
Scary.
Yeah.
And now he has one.
Yep.
All right, Joseph. Were you guys finished on that point?
We're good.
We're good.
Joseph, talk to me about your burning question from week one.
My burning question from week one.
And you can answer it, too.
It's been beat to death, man, but where does Florida State go from here?
I really don't know.
I mean, you were looking at preseason playoffs. Now you might struggle to make a bowl game. And I think this is a gamble that you take playing the transfer portal game. When you choose to fill most of your roster with transfer players over high school players, and I get it, you do what you have to do. I don't think Mike Norvell had a whole lot of options at quarterback. I know people are probably looking at it and they're thinking, he looked at DJU and he thought, that's my guy. I don't think he really had a choice. Because I don't think he was really in the Cam Ward sweepstakes. Florida State might have been able to make that push, but I don't think they were really there. I think it was Miami or the draft for Cam. The biggest problem for me for Florida State, the thing that would make me hit the panic button, is you just had a 13-0 season. Yeah, you got screwed. You got left out of the playoffs. That's a whole nother argument that's done in there. But after finishing that season and looking as good as you did, you made no momentum on the recruiting trail. You finished with like the 12th or 13th ranked class after an undefeated season and an ACC championship. That's not acceptable, man. If you want sustained success, you've got to recruit high school. The transfer portal is literally an accessory.
Well, I don't know. Ask Dabo about that.
That's the thing.
You can't just exclusively go that way. You got to have a mix.
See, I was waiting on that. Because here's the thing about Clemson.
Okay.
They were a high school recruiting machine. 2017, they were ranked 16th. The next 3 years, 7th, 12th, 3rd, and then 5th.
But that's when the transfer portal and NIL weren't as prevalent.
They weren't.
They were giving it, under the table in McDonald's bags, right?
But when has Clemson fallen off? Clemson has come down past Trevor Lawrence. Clemson's high school recruiting, 14th, 15th, 13th in the last 3 seasons.
Unacceptable.
For a perennial powerhouse. And I'll give you this. Sometimes as a recruiter, you just miss on a quarterback.
Yep.
Watching the film study back from the Georgia-Clemson game, they just missed on Cade, man. There were chances for him to spin the ball. There were opportunities for him to complete passes. He just didn't take them. And sometimes you just miss on quarterbacks, man.
Yeah, and Cade's a smaller guy. You start to Monday morning quarterback it, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You start to think about, man, what do we see? But we also have the guys like DJ who you look at the physical stature, you watch him throw at a country mile. The Joe Milton effect. The Joe Milton effect, baby.
Yep.
You get it. You're like, I get it. I see it. And he just can't put it together.
No.
But then on the other side, you're like, Cade Small, athletic, but not a freak show.
Yeah.
Some of those guys pan out. He just hasn't yet, and I don't know if it's a situation. Who knows? But it's like they haven't built depth.
No.
That's the thing the transfer portal should do for you is build depth and fill big gaps. He hasn't done it.
Yeah. Like you telling me they couldn't have benefited from I'm not saying, and don't get me wrong, I think Dabo needs to use the transfer portal. I don't think them using the transfer portal from this past cycle, I still don't think they would have beat Georgia.
No.
I don't. Because you're looking at somebody who's recruited, top 3 classes or better over the past 6 years. You can't expect you to fill a transfer portal with 2 or 3 players and maybe a little bit of depth and go out and beat somebody when you're recruiting 14th.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for Clemson to be recruiting the way that they are, and they've got to get better, man. They've got to get better recruiting high school ranks.
100%. I just don't know where they go from here. Because, the perception's bad right now. The perception's bad, and it means a lot. Whatever was that? Saturday at noon?
Yeah.
That does not look good because if you're close and you look at a recruit and be like, hey, if we had you, we can get there.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way, right?
Yeah, no.
Doesn't at all. So I don't know.
Another game kind of what you had mentioned in terms of teams with slow starts or didn't dominate as well as you wanted to in week 1. And I know we're a little light on time, but I just wanted to throw this one out there. I was kind of watching this one, not closely, but keeping an eye on it. And I know Dylan Gabriel threw for 380 yards and a couple of scores. But they were in a battle with Idaho into the fourth quarter.
It's fun.
How we doing?
I was just checking battery percentage. Yeah. We're good.
What are we at?
Okay,
we're 67.
I love it. We're fine. We're
Joseph
fine.
says when we started, it was we got maybe an hour, maybe a little bit more.
We swapped the cam.
We went to the big boy cam.
We swapped the cam.
Oh, okay, fantastic. I was
Shout out
trying to rush.
wonderful GA for getting all the plates on the mic stand set. Yeah.
All good. But yeah, I was as somebody who was that was kind of one of my bolder predictions going into our college football preview in terms of Oregon not living up to expectations. I was low-key hoping that Idaho was going to...
I knew whenever I was watching it, I was kind of keeping up with that game. Let's be honest, wasn't watching that one.
No.
But I was I bet G's loving this.
I was.
Loving it. Not worried. Still believe in Gabriel. Still believe in that talent. Dan Lanning, I'll give it to Idaho. I feel like there's some coaches that kind of, hey, we're not going to win this one. Let's not show anything. But the coach at Idaho, I just blanked on his name. He sold out. He had the binder out.
Oh, didn't he do a trick play or something at one point?
He had multiple trick plays. Yeah. He had the whole scheme out.
Yeah.
Did a great job. They set them up on a ton of little screen plays. And they had a running back they had some talent. They had some guys that actually moved. I was okay, this is no joke. And I think Oregon was I'm not going to show anything. Fumbled near the goal line, I believe, from Gabriel. Like you mentioned, the stats are going to be there, and he's the kind of guy. And there we go.
Rashee Rice.
Tie ball game 7-7 here. Oh, Xavier Worthy.
Oh, Xavier Worthy. Sorry.
Nice.
My bad. Big one for the Rook.
All right. But yeah, I don't have a ton of fear in Oregon. As for Oregon, I guess I should say. I think they're going to turn it around. I believe in Dylan Gabriel. The Bo Nix thing, everybody's well, Bo's probably better, but Bo was not better before he came to Oregon.
He was not. Sure wasn't.
He was terrible.
He got better when he
Charles
got
Barkley would
to
say.
Oregon.
But they're another one. Stay tuned.
Could Dylan Gabriel have been a target for Mike Norvell in Florida State? That was a guy who started his college career with Josh Heupel, right?
Yeah.
At UCF?
Yep.
He was in Florida. And again, this is, I don't know, and Joseph might be able to answer this better than either of us can, but I just mentioned Dylan Gabriel. We talked about Cam Ward being a potential target for Florida State. What about Dylan Gabriel for Florida State?
For Florida State?
Yeah. A guy who started his college career in the state of Florida.
He did go to UCF.
He did.
He was kind of pushed out at Oklahoma. I know people might not know that, but
he was.
They were preferred over Jackson Arnold. So I don't think Dylan had the market that a lot of people think. But I also don't think – I think when he went in the portal, he wasn't – I believe he had a DNC tag. So he knew he was going to Oregon.
Yeah. it was like
I don't
this
think he
most
was
automatic pick.
Yeah, I
Do
don't
not
think
contact?
he went in. Yeah, so yeah, do not contact.
Nailed it.
I believe he went into the portal knowing that he was going to Oregon. I think that was already established way before the Dylan Gabriel sweepstakes went on. So
Okay.
Yeah, he's the perfect fit for them. They're not a humongous push the ball down the field type of team. Like he is going to be a quick read, get it out fast. They're gonna run the ball some. Don't get me wrong, but it is a very fast paced, quick release, and that's exactly what Gabriel is. There was some issues at Oklahoma. I think that's why they want Arnold. Is they're going to take some bigger shots with Jackson.
yeah,
That's there for them. Gabriel obviously was a really good quarterback. Like I mentioned, he's a top 10 in passing yards. That was very efficient, and he doesn't even have the true number ones that they've had at Oklahoma, the CDs and all those guys. Like those guys are gone away, but he still produced there. He's just the right fit for Oregon and what they do, and it made sense. So hopefully, for my pick's sake and my pride's sake, I really need him to turn out good.
Pride.
So I need, I want to shut G up in, about 20 weeks,
Yeah. Hey, my boy Drew Allard looked pretty good in week 1. Some explosive
That was
plays.
the biggest surprise
man.
for me.
Big plays out there in Penn State.
Penn State looked damn good in week 1, man. They look good as a team, but it just goes back to what we said. They've looked good against the people they're supposed to look good against.
I mean, that was a hostile environment in West Virginia, and they put up 34
We all
points.
bought in, baby. I was singing Country Roads
Hell yeah, you
all
were.
the way on Friday.
I didn't pick West Virginia to win,
No,
but,
me neither.
but I at least thought they'd cover.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for me with Penn State, man, can you beat the big boys?
Yeah.
Can you beat Ohio State? Because I
Gonna
know
be a
you can
big
beat everybody
question.
else on your schedule.
Yep.
'Cause you've
And they
been
will
doing
this year. They will.
You beat Ohio State
We'll
this
see.
year?
They're going to beat somebody big.
Oh, I
Might
can't
not be
wait.
Ohio State, but it's
God,
going
I
to be
can't-
somebody big.
A
I can't
Nittany
wait for
Lion
that
over
game.
here. Penn State Nittany Lion.
There is some
Greg
Nittany Lion
Carter.
fandom in my family.
Oh,
My
really?
cousins are big Penn State fans.
You're not too
Perfect
far
time.
away.
No. Well, they grew up in Illinois.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't exactly know how that all happened, but let's see. They are not going to beat probably Ohio State. They shouldn't beat Ohio State, but they'll beat everybody else on their schedule. They'll beat USC for sure.
I will say,
If I had to pick,
It is at USC, so that's going to be a little
that's
tough.
going to be tough. Flying all the way out.
again,
That's going to be a tough. God, that's going to be a good game.
it's going to be a good one.
Watching USC and the way they look, God, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah. And getting Anthony Golnicki, I guess you kind of forget how big of an impact some OCs and DCs make in college. But getting Golnicki from Kansas and seeing what he did with Jaden Daniel, you're like, oh, yeah. He made Kansas look awesome even without Daniel in their backup last year.
Oh, yeah.
Kansas
Jason
looked
Bean.
comfortable. And now you have him with Drew Aller. And, Aller's another one I was like, feels a little Christian Hackenberg-y.
A little bit.
Oh,
A little bit.
Christian Hackenberg.
Super built freak show. You're like, oh, my gosh, this is like a silhouette of a
What a
quarterback.
hack.
And I was like, oh, yeah, this is the guy. And Golnicki made him look like the guy the other day.
Man, did you hear his post game press conference talking about offense
No.
and how he talked about making it look complicated, kind of like your favorite Blizzard, but in reality, all it is vanilla ice cream and your favorite candy. So you make it simple for the quarterback, but it looks complicated to the defense.
Why does it
I love
stay
that
in the-
analogy.
Why does it
genius.
stay in the cup?
I
when
love
it
that
turns
analogy.
over?
That's genius. I
Like,
never thought about it that way.
So good. So good.
It's just vanilla ice cream and some Reese's.
Yeah. But it looks complicated. And
It
when you
does.
get it, it feels like it's something special.
It does.
Yep.
But it's pretty simple. And the simpler that you can make it on a college quarterback, the better.
Hell yeah. But then, does that affect them when they go to the pros?
Does it affect them?
When they go to
To the pros. Like, if you
It
keep
does.
it, you dumb it down in college just to try to win. I get it. You're trying to win football games. You lose
Yep.
football games in college, you're not going to have a job.
Yep.
I get it. But that's where you have to balance, to me, trying to win games and potentially trying to prepare these kids for the next level.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the prospect too. As the OC and as the head coach, well, I guess as the OC mostly, you're probably going to know. you're probably going to know if your guy can handle that. Like, hey, he's cut out for the next level. Like with Lincoln Riley, he probably knew, like, yeah, Caleb's good for the next level.
Yeah.
So I think that probably goes into your game plan and how you cater your offense to your quarterback, because I feel like you can probably tell.
Yeah.
If this guy's cut out for the next level, especially if it's somebody who's spent any kind of time in the pros or any kind of time in the league and they know what it's like, then you can you have that insider knowledge. You're like, okay, well, my guy can't handle this. Because I feel like, you want me to tell you who somebody I feel like is somebody that needs that offense catered to them, that can be good, but won't make it in the pros?
Before you answer that, I'm on the edge of my seat wanting to know who you're going to say. But just to sit here in awe and, like, just to watch you talk, just physically watch you talk about college football is amazing. Like, you're just, like, perking up. You're just, like,
it's
chomping at the bit, man. I love it.
This is what true love is.
Yes.
And this is why we love doing this.
Yeah.
Listen. If anybody wants to know if you love something, just watch me talk about college football.
Yeah.
Bingo.
If they don't feel that way,
100%.
Dylan Gabriel is one of those guys to me that he needs it dumbed down for him. He can be really good in college. He can make all the plays. He can make the throws because you're not always playing NFL corners. But if you give him too much, he's going to mess it up. And I feel like that's what happened a little bit with Jeff Lebby last year at Oklahoma. In some of those games, they got a little too much, and Dylan was like, bam, here's 3 interceptions. And I feel like he's just one of those guys that if it's cut out simple for him, it'll be better. I think Drew has the arm. He has the arm talent, but I don't know if he has the processing. That's not saying he doesn't. That's not saying he does. But we'll certainly find out.
Yeah.
I think this is the best chance that we've had to see what Drew's ceiling can be.
Yep.
With Andy Koldenecki is his name. I was afraid I was going to butcher his last name.
We are sorry
this is the
to
best
Penn State
chance.
people if we butchered that name.
Yeah, I promise. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Because I wanted Drew Aller to be that guy that
tried.
broke the ceiling for James Franklin. I wanted him to be, but I just I got to see it. I got to see it. Like,
that's an interesting point because that goes back to like the Bo Nix product. Like, if you do dumb it down, and I do feel like Lanning's is like very quick read, but they're not hard reads. Like, like if you're A, if you're X, if you got your spots, you know where to go pretty quickly. It's even like your second and third read. It sounds like it's very fast.
Yeah,
but it's also not hard. Maybe from what we've seen from Bo Nix, if you go from bad or complicated or just too much, maybe what he had at Auburn, maybe dumbing it down.
Yeah.
To go back to both questions is like maybe dumbing it down for somebody in that spot shows them like, hey, you slow this game down, even though you're going fast, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. So maybe Dan Lanning brings that out of like somebody like Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Where, yes, quicker reads, easier reads.
Yeah.
All the same process. Bingo, bango.
Well, look at what Bo Nix has done so far. I know he hasn't played yet in the NFL, but he won that starter's job from, let's be honest, not the most stout quarterback room in the NFL.
Still won a job.
Stidham and Zach Wilson are your competition. Still won a job as a rookie. That's pretty impressive from a couple of guys that have been in the league for a couple of years, and one in which was a very high draft pick with the New York Jets.
True that.
So we'll see how Bo Nix does in the NFL. Again, looked pretty good in the preseason. It's so hard to tell.
You never know.
You never know. It's really the I think the makeup of the person that determines how good they'll be able to play in the NFL. I think everybody is is talented to make it to that level. You're talented. It's what's inside you, I think, that makes the difference. How you read defenses, your courage standing in the pocket, your ability to be comfortable being uncomfortable, standing around chaos around you as people who are trying to rip your freaking head off. But yeah, we'll see what Bo Nix has. Can we get to my question?
Yeah, it is up yours, buddy.
Okay.
Go for it.
So, my burning question from this week is, how much can you really surmise from playing a lesser team? If you were a powerhouse team in college football, how much can you take away from beating the ever-living shit out of a lesser opponent? Let's say, for example, just throwing it out there, an FCS opponent who happens to be very near and dear to our hearts. Their logo may or may not be on this table right now.
Let's say both their logos are on this table. Let's just pretend.
Just purely hypothetical that both of their logos are on this table right now. How much do we buy on that? Screw it. We're talking about Nico Iamaleava. How much can we buy into what Nico was able to show us dating back in the 6 quarters he's played of college football? Tennessee has outscored their opponents. I think it was like 80-0. When he's on the football field.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. To me, it was, I mean, you don't have to really show me anymore. Now, I want to see him against better competition, obviously. But the way he looked against Iowa and the way he looked against Chattanooga, I don't want to call it night and day, but he looked much better.
Oh, yeah.
In that game.
Yeah.
The throws he was able to make were incredible. Like, we're talking about potentially, and Miggy, I know Miggy has said this many a time, so I'm going to give actually some credit to Miggy where credit is due. But this could be the best quarterback prospect that we've had in Tennessee since Peyton Manning. So what can you guys pull? Do you believe like I believe in Nico from one performance again in a half of a game? I think it was about half the game.
Yeah,
he
right
threw for 314 yards and 3 touchdowns and was pretty damn pinpoint accurate with his throws. And what I wanted to see out of him was completing some passes deep down the field. And sure as shit, he hit some deep ones down the field. Thornton, I mean, we saw what that dude could be, or what we wanted him to be last year with Joe Milton.
I think so. A couple of things that you can reap from FCS games, typically, and especially when it comes to the quarterback position. How comfortable does he look running the offense? How comfortable does he look coming up to the line, talking to his guys, making reads, saying this is what the defense is? And, of course, as a fan, you don't get this part. But as a head coach, it's like, what does he tell you he sees? What does he come off the sideline and say, hey, coach, I saw this, I did this, I did that.
Yes.
I did this because I saw this. What are you getting from that? Aside from that, how do his feet look in the pocket? So one of the things that I saw from a film study and I know we're talking about Nico, but one of the things I saw from a film study from Jalen Milroe is he tends to stop his feet in the pocket after his first or second read. That's a bad practice. Does Nico do that? As a new starting quarterback, does he do that? Do his keep feet moving? Does he keep looking downfield? When he rolls out, if the play breaks down, does he move and does he keep looking downfield? If he tucks it and runs immediately, I think that's a bad sign. But if he looks down the field while he's off schedule, how does he look off schedule? Also, what kind of throws are you asking him to make? Because you're playing a severely out-talented team. If you come out and you kind of look like Oregon did, where Dylan Gabriel's dinking and dunking on the left side, a lot of your passes are maybe 1 to 2 yards ahead of line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. Are you asking him to make difficult throws that he's going to have to make to beat Ohio State, talking about Dylan Gabriel specifically? Are you asking Nico to do that? Is he coming out and is he hitting the deep thirds? Is he hitting a post? Is he hitting a corner? Is he making difficult throws, and is he making them look routine against somebody that you severely out-talent? That's the things I would be looking for that you could reap from an FCS game. Obviously, they play Georgia, they play Bama, they play Texas, and I don't remember the schedule exactly, but they play somebody that has NFL-level corners. You're going to have to make those tight window throws. So is Nico going out there and is he slinging it against guys that he knows his guys are going to beat? Or is he kind of playing timid? Is he taking the checkdowns? That's things I would look for as you watch your quarterback play somebody that you should beat by 50.
Yeah. He's been a great example so far because we got to see big throws this week. We got to see the accuracy. We got to see even the pace of the ball. Everything's there. But the best part about Iowa was the fact we got to see him do a different version where it felt like he ran all over you. So you got to see the two-tool version of Nico in his first 2 games. Granted, as you mentioned, a lot less talented UTC team. The mocks just weren't there, but you got to see it. You got to see the flashes. This week against Dave Dorn, he's going to have a bigger challenges from a head coach. NC State's a pretty talented team. Should they beat him? Yes. Neutral site, big game. But Nico did this against the top 12 defense or top 10 defense last year in Iowa. Like, they shut down everybody. It was the most boring season of football you could possibly watch if you were an
Every
Iowa
year.
fan. And then yet he went out there and really dominated on the ground. And then he dominated through the air this time and made throws. And, dude, listen to, like, Tom Fernelli and some of these guys from, like, Cover 3, and they're like, I really believe Nico's the best quarterback. And then he was like, I'll say this. Caleb Williams, I said, was the best quarterback. This is from Tom Fernelli from Cover 3.
Yep.
He said he was the best quarterback, and I knew that when he was on the bench
At Oklahoma.
at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So now he's cooking. So I thought about this, and I guess it kind of relates back to we talk about the Lincoln Riley stuff so much. What if Nico is actually the revolutionary prospect we thought Caleb Williams was? What if Nico's the next great one in a lot of facets? 6'6", freak of nature, makes all the spins. Is probably a little bit more of an athlete. Nico has all the tools, and you watch him throw the football. Brady Quinn talked about it. He's like, I've got to see it. Matt Leinart got to see it. They all talked about, even from a young age, when they watched film and recruited, they're like, hey, Nico, even at a young age, was the most poised kid and one of the best throwers of football I've ever seen. High praise from a lot of guys.
Very high.
That's high praise for some very talented quarterbacks.
Yeah. So there's a possibility with the perfect marriage between Josh Heupel and Nico. There could be some special years coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to throw this out there because I do want to give a tiny bit of love to Rusty Wright and the UTC Mocs. They're ranked, I think, in like the top 15.
They're
in
eight.
the FC.
They're
yeah,
eight.
they're in the FCS poll. Like, this is a good FCS opponent they were playing, and they threw up 69 points. Nice on them. So, like, I think again that speaks volumes. Again, I know it's an FCS opponent. The Mocs are going to have a good season this year, and Tennessee just took them to the woodshed.
I mean, if we're talking about Week 1 FCS opponents, you know who else played a Week 1 FCS
Sure
opponent?
do.
And it didn't look
Sure do.
near that easy.
Nope.
And Shadur's supposed to be a top.
Well, that is a different level of FCS opponent. I know
I mean-
Chattanooga's top 8, but like North Dakota State's like
They are
Yeah.
a perennial powerhouse.
It's top
tier.
I will give you that.
I
They are a
love
perennial
Chattanooga as much as anybody, but yeah.
100%. Yep.
Different world. That's going to be a great matchup this week. Raiola, Shadur, it's going to be different. I'm excited about that one. But we ready to get to the core four, boys?
Let's get to
I'm
the
ready to get
core
the
four.
core four, baby.
This is what we all been waiting for. We got a graphic up. After going 4-0, I'm going to start this one off.
As you should.
Loser-
As you should.
Losers.
King of the castle, man.
Felt good about it last week. Don't know if I feel great about this right now.
Okay, let's lay it out there, Chief.
Put it on the table.
Okay.
What's our first game?
First game, the big one. We'll start out hot. I don't know if anybody else in the world is going to be watching anything else except for Texas at Michigan. Big house is loaded. Quinn Ewers comes to town. I mean, it's by far and away the best game we got going on. It's massive. Top 10 matchup. A lot of questions on Michigan. Texas is big right now. A lot of big favorites in the SEC.
Yep.
We'll go quick on it. I think there's going to be a lot of questions on the front trying to replace Sweat and those guys for Texas, but I still think they do enough. I think this slightly double quarterback situation for Michigan's got to work itself out, and I don't think this is the year for the Wolverines. Give me Texas. I'm going to go 28-17.
Oh, man. G, you want to go or you want me to grab it?
You can go ahead.
All right. Chase, when we sat down, at this wonderful Mike's Hole in the Wall, I told you I had a feeling. Okay.
I got a feeling.
And it was a similar feeling I had last weekend. And for some reason, I kept it hidden away, partially because my fandom was on the line. But there is a realm of possibility where the game that happened last weekend happened, where it's 34-3. And I feel the exact same way about this. There is a realm where Texas wins this game in a blowout. I just think they do.
Oh, my.
I think
Wow.
there's a realm where that happens. I don't think there's a realm where Michigan wins this game in a blowout. If Michigan wins this game, it's going to be in the mud. It's going to be gross. It's going to be like they just drug Quinn Ewers through the mud. It's going to be disgusting. I'll tell you the thing that concerns me. All offseason we heard Alex Orji's going to be the guy. It's his team. They roll out against Fresno, and he ain't starting.
Barely has any packages.
What does that say? That they gave him the job and he didn't take it? Or is it Davis Smith? What's his
Davis
name?
Warren.
Davis Warren. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Davis
Big
Warren
college
just
football
didn't take it. Did he just not take it from Alex?
I do feel like Alex lost it. This is a lost it scenario. I don't know how you could quantify it other ways.
I do, and that scares the hell out of me, man. Because here's how I think this game's going to go. I think in the first half, Michigan can keep it close. That defense is legit. But Will Johnson, he's only one guy. Mason Graham, he's only one guy. And Texas, they got a lot of speed, man. They got a lot of speed. I could see this game being close in the first half. Maybe it's like 10-3, 14-10, something like that. But eventually, Michigan's inability to move the ball is going to spell disaster for their defense.
Disastrous.
And Texas has a lot of speed. I think Texas wins this game going away.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I actually thought you were going to go
Give me the
Michigan.
horns, man. Give me the Longhorns, like 34-17, 34-14, somewhere in that realm. I just don't think Michigan. I just don't think Michigan has it, man.
Okay.
And I think Michigan's defense is just going to get tired.
G.
It was Chase Green who, in the end of the college football preview, when we were talking about Texas, said that Texas could potentially lose a weird game somewhere along the line. I picked Texas as one of the teams to be a disappointment this year, the disappointment in the SEC. And that very weird game is going to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan this weekend, boys.
Ooh.
It's going to be one of those weird ones. They're going to muck it up, as you guys were talking about. They're going to run the football. They're going to find a way to disrupt Quinn Ewers. He's going to throw a couple of picks, maybe fumble one. They got to find a way to score a defensive touchdown in this football game. Does Michigan. Because sure as you know what, their offense is not that scary. Unless Warren Davis can figure it out. Couldn't really do it against Fresno State last week. Fresno State a decent team, but not Texas.
No.
They are at home. It's a huge opponent. They're going to raise their level of play. Coaching staff's going to put some things in. They're going to install some stuff that they did not put on filming in week one against Fresno State, and they are going to find a way to upset Texas 21-20.
Wow.
How they get to 21, I don't know, but they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out.
22-20, I don't know, something like that.
All right.
Boy.
Wow.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
Michigan,
Chalk
I don't
it up,
know.
baby.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of people have voted.
We had way more interaction on the board last week.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
We need to
We
get
got to
some
shine a
people.
lot on it next week.
The board looks. We got some decent tallies on there.
Okay.
Okay, tallies?
Yeah, we got some good tallies.
All right, there might not be a lot of tallies on this board. And that's the scoreboard between Iowa State at Iowa.
Woo, buddy.
Boys, Joseph, I'll let you go ahead. You picked this game. So.
All right, man.
Can I start?
Oh, actually, go ahead,
I would like you
got
to start
some
on
notes.
this.
You want to start?
I
Go
would
for
love
it.
to start
you
on
know,
this
go
one.
for it.
I do got some notes. I was doing some research on this game because forgive me for not knowing a whole lot about Iowa and Iowa State coming into this game. But it is Iowa State at Iowa. So Iowa ranked in the top 21. They're ranked 21st. Let's talk a little bit about State first and foremost. 3 of the last 4 wins, the Iowa State Cyclones, they picked up in this matchup, the Cy-Hawk matchup, have come on the road. Obviously, they're going to look to make it 4th in 5 tries on the road to get a win. We saw Iowa State handle North Dakota 21-3 in last week's victory. Rocco Beck threw a couple of touchdown passes, ran for a third. But the Cyclones' rushing attack was not all that impressive. They finished with just 86 yards, and it was not very good. Watch yourself there on our equipment. Appreciate that. So I was not really thrilled by Iowa State and what they were able to do, especially on the ground. We've already established that Iowa's a good defensive team. Like, that's what Iowa's going to be. The over-under in this game is very low, as it should be.
Yep.
But this seems like one of those matchups that, like, you can just throw anything out the window. And when you play this game, records don't matter, statistics don't matter. It seems like it's just kind of like the Iron Bowl we've always talked about. And on the Iowa side, the rivalry sort of is split these last two years. The Hawkeyes coming off a 2013 victory over the Cyclones in last year's game. And the year before was an ugly game. Iowa State won 10-7. But damn it, Iowa looked good in week 1. I know it was Illinois State, but they were able to put up some points. That's not something Iowa can do usually against anybody. So they won 40-0. They had, obviously, great defense and actually were able to put together some offense. Cade McNamara, you know that name.
Cade.
He passed for 251 yards and a couple of touchdowns, 3 to be exact, in that game. And the ground game was on point. The kids would say in fuego, potentially, or maybe that was a couple of generations. I don't know if they still say that.
Fuego is still, yeah, it's definitely still hot.
Still a thing. It's still hot. I see what you did there.
Hot, yeah.
241 yards on the ground, 6 yards to carry. Caleb Johnson was awesome, scored a couple of touchdowns. With all that being said, again, this is one of those weird games. It's not going to be weird on Saturday. Iowa is going to crush Iowa State. They're going to come away, I'm going to say, with a 24-10 victory. Oh, 24-10 victory for the Iowa Hawkeyes. A couple of touchdowns.
How much do you believe in Cade McNamara?
A lot.
How much do you believe in Rocco Becht?
Not as much.
It's pretty much my basis for this game.
Yeah.
Who do I believe in more? I don't really believe in either one of them. But I tell you what I do believe in.
What do you believe
I believe in the Iowa defense. Because year in and year out, they have showed up and they have showed out. And they have carried them to numerous just butt whippings in the Big Ten title game. And I don't think that stops here. If I have to believe in anybody, I'm going to believe in the Iowa defense. And for that reason, I'm going to roll with Hawkeyes, man. I don't think I have to make this very hard. I don't want to overanalyze it.
Don't do that.
I know Matt Campbell has done pretty good at Iowa State. He's done better than others. But, man, I'm rolling with Iowa.
I've gone back and forth.
Trying to find a way to make an upset pick. I can hear it in your voice.
I am. And I'm trying, and I'll be honest, I've listened to some things on this game and read a few things, and I really want to believe in Matt Campbell. I think Rocco Becht's quite a bit better quarterback than Cade McNamara.
I can see that.
Now, that's not saying Rocco Becht is the best. This might be an all vibes pick. I think this is Matt Campbell. He has these like dip years. He slightly goes back up. I think it's one of those slightly back up teams. And the Rocco Becht, just like the good boy, Rocco himself.
Now I know why you're picking him.
Now we know why we're picking him.
Sense.
Yep. For the all vibes team, Rocco has made it to Signal Mountain. Matt Campbell and Rocco Becht will make it and take home the Cy-Hawk Award. Weird game. 17-14.
Putting that perfect
I think we had
record
a
on
little
the line.
too much flash, and people finally believed in Iowa. They scored 40 points for the second time since 2020.
Wow. I'm going to see if I can remember this correctly, but this is the first time that a receiver for Iowa has had 2 receiving touchdowns.
Wow.
Since 2016.
Wow.
In a season.
Tim Lester was a great hire for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Tim Lester was a great hire for them, and they scored points, and they looked comparable. Smoke and mirrors in this contest. I'm going to go – I just want to fade a little bit, and I just think I just dislike Iowa for some reason. I don't know what it is. I think we played them a couple times, Tennessee. It's just ugly. Love Caitlin Clark. Guess that's all I got from Iowa. Give me Iowa State in a very ugly game. Game 3, boys.
Beautiful.
Game 3. Possibly another ugly game. South Carolina at Kentucky. Do you have any vibes on this one, young Joseph?
I got some vibes, and they are turnovers galore.
Oh, God.
They are turnovers galore, baby. No, I'm actually really excited for this game because I really want to see Brock Vandegrift. I want to see what he can do. I want to see how he handles the pressure. I mean, this right here, this game, in my opinion, is the all tampering off season for Dylan Stewart. I mean, who's going to throw a bag at that kid? Watching him versus Old Dominion, I mean, he's the shining light of South Carolina. 18 years old, freshman. I don't know if he's actually 18. He might be 19, but he's a freshman, 6'6", like 240.
Freak show.
Kid's an absolute stud. Who's going to throw a bag at that kid? But no, I got Kentucky, man. And I don't particularly think it's going to be close. I think Brock's going to play. I think Brock's going to make more plays. I trust Kentucky's defense more. I trust Mark Stoops. I think Kentucky wins this game like 30-21.
Oh, you think it's going to be that high scoring?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Brock's going to throw some picks, but I think he'll also make some plays.
All right. G, you got a vibe yet?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you rock with this one first.
There are some teams I think it's a little smoke and mirrors from week one. I don't think that way with South Carolina. There's no Leggett. I don't know where they're going to score. I really don't. And I don't think this is the greatest Kentucky team of all time either, but I think it's just a better coach team. Brock Vandegrift's going to be a special guy in some different ways. I just have zero faith and really not a whole lot of knowledge of South Carolina having much talent.
There's a guy that I think they were really planning on panning out. His name's Nicholas Harbor. He's a huge, huge athlete, like sub 11 second runner.
Oh, wow.
But he's just, I don't think he's that good at football.
Plain and simple.
So they were hoping they were going to get another Leggett or
he's fast, man, and he's big.
Yeah, they thought
But
they
I
were going
just
to have
don't
another
think
one.
he's that good at football.
They were trying to get another guy that's going to do everything for their team.
I think they were somebody that they're like, they took him on the measurables, and then it's like, he's just really not that good at football.
Yeah, it's like he just doesn't get it.
He's just not. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's, and I don't want to say because he's still young. He's only a sophomore. I don't know if it's him or the position that they're trying to play him in or his position coach. Like, I don't know. And I don't want to just throw him to the wayside because his measurables are that good. But
you gotta
at some point, it's like, man, if you're just not that good at football, you're just not that good at football.
And he's not that good at football.
So far.
Man. Give me 24-13 Kentucky.
Zach Kroger Field.
God, it sounds so lame every time people say it.
Yeah, that does kind of sound lame. Obviously, we know Brock Vandegrift transferring in from Georgia. You know him decently well, I would assume. To me, that's going to be the difference in this game. It's really just a little bit more talent. Kentucky does have more of an injury concern coming into this game. There's a bunch of players that have already been ruled out now that the SEC has to have a Thursday injury report, which is interesting now, which I like. I like that. Kentucky is going to be missing more players, but they're at home. They're more talented. I'm going to go with Kentucky to roll. They're favored in this game. I'm going to take them 27-17.
Okay.
27-17 Kentucky.
Right on it. And then Saturday night, live in Charlotte, North Carolina, your Tennessee Volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
Versus your NC State Wolfpack.
Yeah. Yes.
We're going to take their state. We're going to do a lot of things. Nico's going to absolutely ball out.
Yep.
I don't think NC State's going to go away early. I think Grayson McCall is going to have a good showing. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I really do. I think this is going to be maybe a 42-35 game.
Ooh, that's a lot of points.
42-35. Charlotte's going to get a show. The SEC on ABC. We're getting the best crew possible.
Hell yeah.
I can't wait. We're going to see the good boy Ben on camera live.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait for it. but give me Tennessee in a great game, actually a little closer than most people expect. Next.
All the Ben vibes, man. I'm with you, man. If I have to pick somebody that's going to make plays in this game, I'm picking Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I'm picking Nico. And I'm picking Dylan Sampson. And I'm picking the boys. I just don't know if NC State can hang. I think they might give a good showing early, but I think eventually they'll run out of gas. And I think it could look kind of sketchy early if Nico comes out and he's just, not necessarily throwing picks, but maybe he's, getting a little adjusted, missing some guys before he finally settles in and that offense goes to work. I'll take the Vols. Give me the Vols 34, NC State 23.
Vols by a million, plain and simple.
Love it.
NC State struggled with Western Carolina last weekend. They turned the ball over a bunch of times. They needed a 21-point fourth quarter in order to beat the Catamounts. Whew. That ain't going to happen against Tennessee. There's going to be no 21-point quarter against the Tennessee Volunteers. I don't care where you play this game. It could be at home at NC State. It's going to be essentially a home game. They're going to be in Charlotte, the Duke's Mayo Classic, whatever they're calling it now. But Tennessee's going to force some turnovers, and Nico's going to make them pay.
Yep.
It's going to be 40-17 Tennessee.
Wow.
They are going to put it on NC State.
This has a weird vibe to me. I think we're going to see some scares in our secondary. I feel like this is a Tennessee game where we put on a show. We've already scored 42 points. We might be up 2 touchdowns. We don't get a third down. They score again. I think Grayson McCall is going to take advantage of our weaker secondary and gets our gaping hole. We're going to have that scared. We're all going to be talking about it on Monday. So those are my thoughts on. I think they essentially cover that spread. It scares me. That's always a nervous one to 7.5. But I think this is a game where we're going to win.
Oh, it's
going to
bumped
look
up
good.
now.
Oh, it's already up. Where we at?
Yeah. I think it was like 9.
Oh, wow.
No, 10.
Oh,
10.
wow. Juiced up.
Yeah.
Juiced up.
10.
Okay. Well, either way, I think the Vols get it done. I think there's going to be like a late scare that make us all overreact on Monday. So, but I can't wait. This is going to be a good weekend. It's not the loaded weekend I felt like we had last week. I felt like every time slot was just hitter after hitter. But going into this weekend, we've got 2 great ones. I think this NC State game could be fun, for my personal opinion. Texas-Michigan's going to be massive. Where are we at? 13-7 now? Kansas City. That's where we're at in this game right now. Boys, anything else? I guess we'll wrap it up. We're almost like an hour and 45.
Oh, we're almost at an hour 45.
I love these live
But it's
shows.
been a good time, man.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our boy Josh, who is a fan of the best franchise in the National Football League as well. Born and bred in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He said he had his bike rode by the Green Bay Packers when he was growing up, because they do the little bike ride in their preseason. Like they have kids give up their bikes and let players ride from the indoor or wherever they get changed, the locker room, over to their practice facility on their bikes. It's a good way to get involved with the community and the kids.
That's cool.
He said he had his bike ridden by some Packers. Oh, here we go. Now we got some picks going on the board.
On the board, baby.
Shout it out. Let's go.
go.
Make some picks. Yes. Put it up there on the board. Put it on the board. But shout out to Mike's Hole in the Wall. This has been an awesome venue. We only had one jokester come up and try to talk to us mid show. But,
we knew that would happen.
Yeah, somebody was going to do it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the audience here. It's been good. We were able to talk to some folks before the show.
Oh,
What did he say?
Man.
Roll Tide?
No, go Cox.
Game Cox.
South Carolina love, man.
Okay, well, it's going to be a tough one for him on Saturday.
Yeah.
But
It's going to be a long year, brother. Long year,
I
man.
appreciate the passion and sticking with it. But, yeah, shout out to Mike's Hole in the Wall. This has been a cool venue. We'll definitely be back here. Cameras held up nicely. Chase, I gave Joseph his flowers for, like, talking about college football. It's interesting because anybody who knows you knows you're not like a cocky person. So to just see you like humbly brag about how well you did in the college football picks it's nice to see. I like
Thanks,
a
man.
humbly like confident Chase.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
It looks good on you.
I'll wear
Because
it
you are
so.
good at you are good at picking games and you know ball. Clearly, this side
know
of the
ball,
table
baby.
is
Certified ball knower.
always good.
Certified ball
always
knowers?
on the same
Yeah, love
same
that.
page. But yeah, that's all. I just want to say a quick shout out to Mike's Hole on the Wall. This has been a fun venue. It's all good on the patio. The vibe's been good out here. We got Thursday night football going on currently right now, and I'm just happy. I'm just so glad football's back. I took a minute to just sort of like watch the game and just smile and say, we're at a bar watching NFL football and talking college and NFL football. Like it's.
And about to hammer down on some wings.
Oh God!
I was
dude.
going to ask if y'all wanted to just hang out afterwards.
Of
but
course.
I am
Yeah,
starving.
I'm so
right now.
hungry.
Yeah.
I'm starving.
So hungry.
All right. Appreciate yous. Love yous.
Follow Chatted Up on every platform. Make sure you interact
At
with us
Chatted Up
on
Sports.
social media. We
Love
love
yous.
you
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Peace.